Doing virtual trainings, especially with the use of board games like Mathematics Pentathlon, is really key to have the right webcam, the right stand, and there are a lot of different options. And these are some of the things that I found out there, and I'm going to recommend to you what I feel is best. First of all, the camera. There are different kind of webcams out there, and they range from $19 on up. The ones that we use with the Pentathlon Institute are the smaller versions of webcams. They're fairly simple. This one just happens to have a little lid on it that you can open and close for privacy. Most of them don't come with that. We have tried different types of cameras. The 480p do not get a 480p. So you are going to need 1080. So this is one that works well. It's just a next to go. It's a 1080p. Any 1080p should work just fine. The second part that you're going to be looking at is the stand and the connections to the stand. This one here is a tripod connection. It has a little screw on the end of it. It works well with the little webcam, but if you buy the webcam, you have to make sure it has a tripod connection to it. Once you set it up, a little more difficult to get off and on. Some of these actually do come with different connections. So if you wanted to, you could take this one off, put this one on, would be able to hold a phone. It stretches out, you put your phone in it. Now the stand that I prefer the most, it does have a long arm, but at the bottom, I really like this clamp. It's just a simple hand. You screw it up, screw it down to clamp it onto either the desk you're at or a shelf above the desk. It has a very long extension on it, but on the end of it, what I really like is this clamp right here. And what this clamp does, you pull it back. It's made for phones, but you can also very easily take a webcam and simply insert it either this way, like this, or if you want a little bit more flexibility, you can open this up a little bit and you can put it in here like this. Then you have room to move your camera around. And these cameras twist also, which help with getting the right angle on your game board and game pieces. Most people don't know this, but most of these cams have a little outside silver area, have two little notches in it on each side. Those little notches are for fine focus. So you can turn those just a little bit and it will help to get your focus in a little bit better. And here's another way to set up the games used for virtual teaching.
All right, what we've done here is we've taken an iPhone, and if you go in as the host and you switch the cameras back and forth, that will allow you to zoom in and out to the game to get the size you want. And we have built ourselves a stand out of PVC pipes.
And are you using an iPad, a webcam, a phone? What are you using to do this with?
We're using an iPhone for this one. We've also used an iPad. The iPhone does seem to do a better job, but I think any phone camera will do.
And the iPad will also zoom in and zoom out if you just take it and do like the selfie mode and then go back to the normal camera?
Yes.
So the first thing we're going to do is email the SCDs, the links for the labels, as well as the scripts, and then we'll also have them posted on our website.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Division 4 virtual training, and this is for experienced coaches. I'm going to introduce everybody who's going to be working with us today. We have Dr. Mary Gilfeather, who's the president of the Institute. We have Chris Maurer, who works with the Austin Center down in Texas. And we have Patricia Umbarger, who works with the Austin Center as well. And I'm Renee LeBlanc, co-national director, and I'll be your host today. And we're going to start with Prime Gold.
And here is a setup for Prime Gold. You have your game board, of course. You've got your blue and red ships. Now, note one thing about the red ships. You can kind of see a white ring around them. We have used a Sharpie paint pen. It's opaque white. We have a description of it in our script so that you can distinguish those chips on the game board. Otherwise, they're hard to see. And also we've got a transparent dice container for the icosahedra and dodecahedra dice. And then we have underneath the board paper to record the values of the dice. And last but not least, we have the equation flag card to the right of the board where the number sentences will be recorded. Also, instead of using just scrap paper, you can use a whiteboard or dry erase board to record the values of the dice. For the coaches who will serve as hosts to their pentathletes, we also have a script, and the script provides both the materials that are needed for the host to work with their students, as well as procedures for both the participants and the host.
Okay, we're back to the game, and we'll divide up into teams of 2. Let's have Patty and I on one team, and Chris and Mary on the other team. And let's let Chris and Mary, y'all can be red, and we'll be blue, and we'll let you 2 start. And as a host, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to state the values of the dice, 9, 5, and 2. I'll show it to the players. And then everybody should be recording this.
$16, and we could do a 13 and a 3.
I love that. That would get us 2 spaces instead of 1.
All right, let's do it. So 9 plus 5 equals 14, plus 2 equals 16.
So here's the equation that you said. 9 plus 5 equals 14. That's in parentheses. And then plus 2 equals 16. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, what would you like to do with that 16?
I would like to use gold box conjecture, and I would like to place 2 of our red chips on 3 and 13.
Very nice play, actually. Right there and there?
Correct.
Okay.
And then pass the flag card.
Now it's Patty and my turn. You ready, Patty? A 4, a 10, and a 1.
So we have 4, 10, and 1.
Mm-hmm.
I see that we can take 2 prime numbers by doing the equation 4 plus 1 equals 5 times 10 equals 50.
4 plus 1 is 5 times 10 equals 50. So just like that?
Yes.
Okay. That's a good high number. And yeah, we could break that up into 2. Which 2 are you thinking about?
Yeah, well, we need to block them. So with that one, we can make the 31 to start with.
That'd be 31 and 19, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you go box conjecture. 19 to 31. I think that's pretty good.
Pass the flag card, please.
All right, now it's Red's turn. Red rolls a 12, a 7, and a 2. Show that to you real quick. 12, 7, 2.
Okay, with the 12 and the 7 and the 2, I would like to multiply 12 times 7 is 84, plus 2 is 86.
And I just put the parentheses in there because you said it is. So 12, I don't need the parentheses, but since you said 12 times 7 is, I went in and put in parentheses, plus 2 is 86. Is that okay?
That is correct.
Okay.
And I'd like to use gold box conjecture, and please place 2 of our chips on 7 and 79.
correct?
And yes, and pass the flag card.
Very nice. Patty, here we go. A 4, a 5, and a 9.
5 and 9.
Let's do 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 divided by 9 equals 1.
I agree.
Okay. So parentheses 4 plus 5 divided by 9 equals 1. Show that real quick. Then I'll place a chip on 1. And I'll pass the flag card. Mary Chris's turn. Okay, you rolled a 7, a 5, and a 1.
Seven factorial divided by 5 factorial plus 1 equals 43.
Is this correct, Mary?
Yes.
Okay.
And now if you would just place it on one chip on 43. Yes, pass the flag card.
Okay, the game has advanced, and it's blue turns now. Okay, and we rolled a 3, and a 1. All right, Patty, I think we got a pretty good roll here for what we want to do. Let's do parentheses 3 plus 3 close parentheses times 1 equals 6. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Made a little mistake there in writing, but it's 3 plus 3 equals 6 times 1 equals 6. And I'll put the blue on the 6. And then we're going to remove 2 of their red chips, Patty. What do you think we should move?
Well, I see they have a shaft going right there on the by the number 15, 16, 13.
Yep.
So how about if we remove the 13?
And I'd suggest we remove the 3 too, for strategic purposes.
Yes, that way it clears the way for us to make another.
I like that idea.
That's good.
All right, we'll pass the flag card.
So this series of moves for Prime Gold shows how to play it virtually.
And we'd all like to thank you for joining us today.
Okay.
And now we will move on to Pentamen.
The virtual teaching of this transformational geometry game, Pentamen, is using the game board, the pentamino pieces, the yellow and green set for each player or team. And we also have a pentamino legend at the top, which will be very helpful in pentamino placement, as well as identifying the pentamino to be moved in the movement phase. And also we have a coordinate system. We have numerals for the rows, and we have letters for the columns. And so when referring to both placement and movement, we will use the numerals or the rows first and the letters or the columns second. And then we have our chips, and so to identify those when we're moving them, we have them numbered. So the green set and the yellow set, number 1 and number 2. And the Pentamen movement record flag card. And I also would like to mention that it is very helpful, really essential, that players for this game also have the physical board and pieces, as well as the movement record flag card.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start playing. And Mary and Chris are going to be on one team. And I'll write down that they are going to be green, just for reference purposes up here. And Patty and I, Renee, will be on the other team, and we will be yellow. And what I did is I just put the initials and the color that we are on the movement record flag card so we can remember. And the first phase, of course, is placement. So let's let the green team, Chris and Mary, start.
All right. Chris, do you want to pick a piece?
Sure, I'd love to. Please pick up the green X and place it on 1B, 2A, B, and C, and 3B. That is correct. And pass the flag card.
All right, passing the flag card. Yellow's turn. Patty, do you want to take our turn for us?
Sure. I'm going to choose the white piece.
Okay.
Yes. And place it on 5A, B, C, and D. Yes. And 4C.
So right there, okay.
Yes.
And then we'll pass the flag card back.
Okay, if you would select the C or the U-shaped pentamino and place that on 8 and 9A, 9B, and 8 and 9C.
Okay. Correct.
Yes.
Pass the flag card. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the L piece. And I'm just going to put them down in the center every time I pick one, just so that everybody can see which piece I'm picking. And I'm going to put it in 2, I, J, K, and L, and 3L. It'll be right there. I'll pass the flag card, and it's green's turn. And now it is green's turn. So Mary and Chris, it's your turn.
All right, Mary, are you okay if I take our turn?
Sure.
All right. Please slide the green P 3 spaces to the right.
1, 2, and 3.
That's correct. And please record it on our movement flag card. And pass the flag card to yellow.
Okay. Recorded.
That is correct.
Patty, you want to take our turn for us?
Sure. What do you think? I'm thinking of moving the S piece, but give me a second to look at my own game board to see if what I'm thinking works. Okay, give me a second here.
I'm going to look at while you're looking at it. And
Sure.
look for other moves.
I think I got it. Let's rotate the S clockwise 180 degrees using the upper left vertex, please.
So rotate 180 using this vertex.
Yes, 180 degrees clockwise.
I always like putting my finger on it when I'm rotating it so it does not move off of that spot. Look at that. Beautiful rotation, Patty.
Good, it worked. And I think it's very helpful if you have your own game board, because otherwise it's very hard to visualize.
Mm-hmm.
And record the shape on the movement card, please.
Okay. I'm going to record that to look like it.
And pass a flat card.
Mark it right there. I made a little mistake, so I marked it out.
So I'm going to check this out on our board as well to see if it's going to work. And it does. So if you would flip the U or C-shaped pentamino in the lower left to 6B, C, D, and 7B and D.
Okay, so just flip it
Yeah,
like that. Correct?
that is correct. And then if you would record it and pass the flat card.
There's your C or U that you moved. That's the flat card. Now it's our turn, Patty, and I'm gonna move a chip out of our way that will give us a little bit more room. So I'm gonna take the 1 yellow chip and I'm gonna move it down to 9L. The 1 chip going down, nothing's blocking it, 9L right there.
That works.
And then I'll write a chip down, which is just, we know that's just a circle. Like that. Now it's your turn, green.
All right. I would like to move the X piece, please.
This one here?
Yes. On the lower right side vertex, just above the sheriff star.
Right on this vertex?
That's correct. And I'd like you to rotate it clockwise,
Okay.
180 degrees.
So I'm using this vertex, 180, 90, and 180. Wow.
And please record it on the flag card and pass the flag card.
There's the X, passing the flag card. Now it's yellow's turn, but all right, I think that pretty well sums up the movement phase of this game. I like the way that Chris on her first move used a slide, and she told the host, myself, exactly how many spaces to move it. Also, when Mary did a flip over here, Mary told me the coordinates to put it in. That's a nice way to state it. You can use the coordinates. And Chris and Patty, when they were doing rotations, they both rotated different pieces and they used the degree that they were rotating in it, if they were rotating it clockwise or counterclockwise. Of course, that's very helpful as well.
Very nice ending description.
Once again, you can find all the labels, the legend, the script on the website for free.
And next, we'll be playing Frackfact.
Here is the setup for the virtual teaching of Frackfact. And we have labels for this game. We have the labels for player A and player B, as well as labels for each player's discard pile. And then with all of our games, we have the script, so you can refer to it in teaching the game virtually. And in this regard, we have directions for making a trick, passing, as well as discarding and replenishing. We also have reference to what to do with a forced discard. So for our teams, we'll have Chris and myself representing player A, and Renee and Patty representing player B.
Go Team B. Okay, and I will be the host today, so I'll be pointing to the fraction strips and removing them as people identify them. And the players, when they're going to identify a fraction strip, they should state the color first, then the fraction, to help me to be able to identify them. So let's have Mary and Chris, since you all are player A, why don't you all take the first turn?
So I see a trick for us. I'm going to identify and state the number sentence. The green 1/2 of or times the red 2/6 equals the red 1/6 in the center of the board.
Okay, so I'll pick those up for you. And since you made a trick, I'm going to put it to your right side. And then we draw 3 strips for you, correct?
That is correct.
And then here are the 3 strips we drew. Where would you like for those to go?
If you would put the blue 4/4 in the
Okay.
center and then take the red 2/6 as well as the yellow 2/3 and place those two in our hand.
Okay,
And then you can go ahead and pass the flag card.
all right, now it's Patty's and my turn. Patty, would you like to take the turn for us?
Sure. I see we can divide. What do you think? The orange strip 1/12. Yes. Divided by the orange strip 2/12. Correct. Equals 1/2, which is the blue strip to the left.
Okay,
Yes, correct.
very nice. We'll take those 3 strips. Now we'll put them to our right.
And now let's draw the 3 strips. Let's go ahead and place the 4/12 into the answer rectangle. Correct. And then the other 2 on our player B side.
Okay,
Now we can pass a flag card.
all right. Now it's A's turn.
Okay, and it's my turn. I would like to do the yellow 2/3 compared with or minus the red 2/6 equals the orange 4/12.
Okay,
Yep. Thank you.
look for you. Got 2 tricks.
Draw for me.
3 strips right there.
I would like for you to please place the 10/12 orange strip in the answer rectangle to the left, please.
All right,
And the other 2 strips will go in our hand.
there you go.
Yep, and then pass the flag card.
All right, Patty, it's yours and my turn.
Okay, you go ahead and do this one.
All right, I'm going to take the yellow 3/3 plus the red 0.6 equals the blue 4/4. Okay. And I'll put that in our trick pile. Straighten these up a little bit for us. Draw 3 strips for us. 1, 2, and 3. All right, Patty, I see that they can get 2 of those, but not 1. What do you think about putting the 2/12 into the answer rectangle?
That's a good one, because if they're not able to take it, we can take it in our next turn.
Okay, so I'll put that in the answer rectangle. And then the other 2 strips, fraction strips, I'll put them in our rectangles on our side. Then I'll pass the flag card. It's Mary and Chris's turn, player A.
All right. Let's see. I don't see anything that we can do to get either 10/12 or 2/12. What about you, Chris? Do you see anything that I'm missing?
I don't.
Okay, well, we could either pass or we could discard and replenish. What do you want to do?
I think we should try to discard and replenish and try to get something.
I agree. If you would get rid of the 2 halves and place that in our discard pile on our left side. And now if you would replenish with 1 more strip for our hand. And now let's see if we can make a trick. We have the orange 7/12 plus the blue 1/4 equals the orange 10/12 in the answer rectangle. That's correct.
So that was a nice play where you only got rid of 1 and you gained a trick.
Yes. And now you're going to replenish. Would you please put the orange 7/12 in the answer rectangle and the other 2 strips in our hand? And pass the flag card.
And we think that pretty well sums up how to teach Frackfact virtually. We hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Now we're going to begin with fraction pinball. In fraction pinball, when we're teaching the game virtually, there are a couple things that we're doing a little differently. First of all, you'll notice 2 labels, red and blue, so you know which team is taking their turn. You'll notice that the chips have numbers on them. Each chip has 1, 2, and 3. That way, when they're on the board, they can say, would you move my 1 blue chip or my 3 blue chip? So the host knows what to move. And also we've identified the pawns by putting a little bit of white paint on the top of 1 of each color. That's the same reason, so the students can tell the host, would you move my blue pawn with the white paint, or a red pawn with the white paint, or just the red pawn or just the blue pawn. This helps the host out a lot. Also on the game board itself, we've just taken little white stickers and we've labeled all the nodes, A, B, C, D, all the way up through K. So the students can say during movement, would you move from start to the A node, and then they can go from there. We also have a script online for you, and we will show that to you at this time. So if you go to the website, you can click on virtual training. And it will take you to a tab where all the information is for virtual training. And in Division 4, the teaching script is here. The labels that I showed you just a minute ago are down here. They're free. Actually, all this on this side is free. And I'll let Dr. Gilfeather explain the script to you.
Yeah, what teachers and coaches are really appreciating is that the scripts are very, very helpful as a reference to remember exactly how the game board is going to be set up, as well as anything that's different, as Renee was just describing, the chips and the nodes that are labeled for easy movement and reference to where to go. We talk about having a 20 by 30 foam board, and it's nice if you have that, especially if you're coaching and teaching several games, you're going to go ahead and make sure you get those labels for red and blue as far as distinguishing which turn it is. We've already talked about the chips and the pawns. We also like to say that if they do hit or strike the edge of the game board, using the term ricochet is extremely useful to the host. And then once a participant lands on a fraction value, they're going to tell the host to record the converted decimal value and then what the new accumulated score would be. It's also important when they get to phase 3 and they're dealing with neutralization, to tell the host what to do. Are the 2 chips going to remain on that particular node, or are they going to ask the host to place them on that captive pentagon?
During the game today, what we're going to have is I'm going to be the host. So if you're a coach or a parent or a teacher and you're hosting the games virtually, this is the way that you would do it and the way that we would recommend it be done. The players today will be Mary. Mary is the president of the Pentathlon Institute, and she will be on the blue team. And Patty works in the Austin office in Texas, and she will be on the red team. Okay, our pawns and chips are in the appropriate place. I prefer to use some kind of pointer to point the movement when the pentathlete tells me where they're moving, because if I use my hand, it kind of gets in the way of the numbers. So if you do have a pointer, that's very advantageous. So Mary's going to be the starting player. So Mary, let's show people how to play this game.
Okay, Renee, if you would please take my blue pawn and move it to the start circle. And now if you would have it move forward to the A node, and now have it move up and right, so it ricochets slightly off the side of the board, continuing up till it lands on the G node. And now if you would move it to the right so that it lands on the +1/2 fraction circle.
Okay, is that correct?
Perfect, that is correct. And now what I'd like you to do is record. I'm going to convert that +1/2 to 0.5, the decimal equivalent. So if you would record that for me.
Okay.
And then if you would now pass the flag card.
Okay, if you can move my red pawn to the start position, please. Okay, and go up to the A node, B node to the left, ricochet to the bottom, and then ricochet to up to the left again, through the D node and land on +410 fraction circle. Correct. Record 0.4. And accumulated score is 0.9.
Okay, and if need be, if the students cannot see what I have recorded, they can just ask me and I will hold up the accumulated score flag card for them.
Okay. And now pass the flag card, please.
Okay, Renee, if you would please position my white paint blue pinball and place that on start. And if you would now move that to the A node, and then slightly to the left to B, the B node. And now if you would go up again to the left to ricochet off the side of the game board. And now if you would have it land on the E node, and now to finally advance to +6/8 fraction circle. And that's where it's going to land for this turn. And now if you would please, since it's equal to a +0.75, so if you would add that to the prior score, and now my total value is 1.65. And then please pass the flag card.
Very, very good.
Okay, if you can place my red pawn with a white dot to the start position, please.
You got it?
Go to the A node, B node, diagonally up to the right to the F node, ricochet right, and ricochet to the left again to land on positive 910 fraction circle, please. I will add 0.9 for an accumulated score of 2.55. And pass the flag card, please.
Now, all of the pinballs are out, and that is phase 1 of fraction pinball. So now we're on to phase 2, where we have to move all of the chips or blocking chips out.
Would you please take my number 1 blocking chip on the top of the stack, and if you would move it down slightly to the positive 3/5 fraction circle, and now moving it diagonally down and to the left so that it lands on the D node.
Okay.
That is correct. And now if you would pass the flag card.
Okay. And I'm just going to point out at this time, that move that she did, it actually blocked this red pawn in. The red pawn can't move out of this yet.
Now let's go ahead and move my number 1 red chip diagonally up to the right to land on the G node. Yes, correct. It helps me to follow the lines with a mouse, otherwise I get lost.
Oh, so you're
Yes,
using the pointer on yours to help you
Yes.
follow the line. That's a great idea for the participants.
Yes, and now pass the flag card, please.
Okay, let's see here. You're going to be now moving my number 2 blocking chip, and there's 2 routes we could take. We could take the really fast route and move it to the positive 7/10 to land on the F node. However, to have lots more fun, let's go ahead and move it down slightly to positive 3/5, then over slightly to the right to minus 4/10 or negative 4/10, and then to the right, negative 1/4, then up to negative 7/8, and now it's finally landing, now it's final landing place on node F. And pass the flag card.
Okay, let me go ahead and move my number 2 chip through the positive 710 fraction circle and up to the node H, please. Correct, and pass the flag card.
Okay, my final blocking chip to be moved, my number 3, if you would move it first up to negative 8/10, and now if you would move it up to the left a little bit so that it lands on the I node. And then you can pass the flag card.
Let's go ahead and move my number 3 chip to the diagonally up to the left to land on the J node, please.
Okay.
Correct. And pass the flag card.
Now, phase 1 is done, phase 2 is done, and we're on to phase 3, where either player can move either a chip, a blocking chip, or a pawn. It is their choice.
Move my blue pawn with the white top
Let me
up.
pause you just for 1 minute, Mary.
Yeah.
This is really important for the host because when Mary identified the blue pawn and she said the white top, I know to go directly to this one. So you really want to make sure your pawns have some type of color on top. We recommend white because it stands out the most, and the chips are numbered. It really helps the host out. So sorry for interrupting. Mary, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Okay, if you would move my blue pawn with the white top up slightly to positive 5/10. And now we're going to convert that to its decimal form, which is 0.5, adding that to 2.55, giving us a new total of 3.05. And when you're done with that, you can go ahead and pass the flag card.
Okay, let's go ahead and move my red pawn with a white dot. Yes, ricochet to the right and land on positive 6/10 fraction circle, please. So we will add 0.6 to the scoring card for an accumulated score of 3.65. Correct, and pass a flag card.
All right, let's see. How about if you go ahead and move my blue pawn with the white top down slightly diagonally to the left so that it lands on negative 1/4. And now, once you're done moving it, if you would convert that to minus 0.25.
That's
And
our
that
first negative number there. Okay.
and subtracting that from 3.65 gives us a new total of 3.4 or 3.40.
I like that you said that 3.4 or 3.40. Either way is correct. All right.
And now you can pass the flag card.
Let's go ahead and move my number 3 chip. Yes, and it's gonna go down through the star.
Okay. And everybody should know once the chips are off the star, any movement has to go straight through the star. So you went straight through the star.
Positive 3/5, negative 4/10, negative 1/4, 8/10, negative 3/6, and now you're gonna ricochet to the right and ricochet to the left again and diagonally up to the left to land on top of the blue 1 chip to neutralize it.
So you've neutralized the blue chip, which means the blue can't move.
Yes, and I'm still blocked. So what I'm going to do is grab those 2 chips and move it to the captive position, please.
Okay.
Yes, because and that way my red pawn can start moving.
So since captive is open, you can move both of those chips down there, and the blue's still neutralized.
Yes, and pass a flag card, please.
And you said your pawn's now open to move, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is how you would teach this virtually, and the students would tell the host exactly what to do every single turn, including converting the fractions, giving you the accumulated score, how they're moving on the board, especially when Patty did the last one with moving it to captive. Otherwise, I would have just left it there because she did not tell me to move it to captive. The only other question I have for you all before we close out this game of fraction pinball is we know Patty can now move out on her next move, and it's Blue's turn. Can Blue somehow move one of their blue chips to block the red back in? And just as a reminder, to win this game of fraction pinball, you need a score between 4.95 and 5.05. Enjoy.